Welcome to Spar app training. So the first thing you will have done is download the Spar app. Once you've downloaded it, you will then log in, and the first screen you'll see is the work list. As you can see, there's quite a lot of information here, so let's break that down. So if we look at one of the jobs, the job will give you the store information, the job information, the execution days of when jobs can be done and when they need to be completed by, if there's been an issued tract submitted, the days left, proposed visit date, or the scheduled date. Next up, we're going to start a call. So click on one of the jobs and it will say yes to start the call. It will then come up with the job instructions. Every job will have their own instructions, and it is really important to read those job instructions and go through each page individually to ensure that you've read and understand what is required for the job. Once you've read each page, at the bottom right hand corner you will see next, and it will continue to go next until you've read all the instructions, and then it will proceed to the job question. This next step will then bring you the information you're required to record against the call. Please note that all mandatory data needs to be recorded. This will come up with the red M in the right corner of each individual step that needs to be taken. Okay, so the first step is the store contact. So enter the full name of your store contact and their title. So that could be a store manager, department manager, staff, or other, and then press save. Okay, now we're going to do call form. So once you go through to the call form, it will come up with the questions. Make sure that you read those questions carefully, answer those questions as best as you possibly can for the client, and give as much information as you possibly can give. Once you have answered all the questions, it will then take you back to the screen above. You can then reopen the call form to check your answers and to make sure that what you have said and what you have selected is correct. Next up is photos. So with the photos, ensure that you've taken the photos as per requirements in the job instructions. So this could be a before photo, an after photo, an overview photo. And then put that into your comments as well. So just so we know that there is a difference between the before and after. And if you do need to take a before photo, I would recommend opening the photos first before you open the call form questions. That way then you've got your before photo, you then do your questions and then come back and do an after photo. If there's anything in the photos that you believe is relevant for the client, please ensure that you do go back into your call form questions and answer those and put some feedback in there to say, please see photo regarding damage or regarding something specifically for that client. The photos have to be extremely clear and accurate. And if there is an overview photo, making sure that you try and get that overview photo in the one photo, just so then we've got that overview for the client and we understand where they are in store. Next up is visit date and time. Enter the date, time and kilometers for each call. Please note that the app automatically sets the date and time, but this can be overwritten. Ks are to be calculated as required between one call and the next call, and if travel was undertaken. Once you've done this, save and it will submit. Ordering products. So some calls will require you to complete a count of out of stocks, or product count, inventory, product orders, returns, etc. Please note that a number 1 and above is a valid quantity of returns and product orders. 0 and above is a valid quantity for out of stock and product counts. Okay, so ordering the product. As you can see below, you will get this screen when it comes up, and there's a few different options that you can do to provide the right information. So scan for the product, which is the orange button there. Search the list for the product, as you can see with the red circle. And then the other option there is to search for the code using the magnifying glass and entering the code manually. So that's just there at the top of the right hand side. To set up scan, you'll need to go back to the main menu and go to settings. You can then scan the product, but you need to ensure that that setting has been changed first. So the little settings wheel there, and then go to the option where it says scan and save. Once you've entered all the items required to order the product or out of stock, you can basically then just close that page, and that will then become a green tick on the main work list, and you've completed the out of stocks. If you do need any more help with this, please contact your GO and they will be able to explain this in more detail and even able to help you while you're completing the call on your first visit. Once you've completed all the mandatory details a part of the call, you'll be returned to the main call screen where all mandatory fields will display a green M, as you can see there on the right hand side. Okay, so it's now time to submit. All your work and all the mandatory fields have turned green, and you've got those green ticks on the right hand side, and you want to go to the bottom of the phone or the tablet and submit. So at the bottom you'll see submit. You need to ensure that you've got good strong data or Wi-Fi connection to ensure that all the information that you've supplied goes through and goes through to the server. If you don't have that, you'll go to work list, and then it will say all activities for the store are completed. Will you have further updates for the store? And you can say no. Do you want to submit now or do you want to submit later? And you would say no again. And then the job will then come up and sit there as a pending until you submit that information. So it's really important that if you don't submit it straight away, you do submit it at the end of the day when you're back home under your Wi-Fi connection, to ensure that the information and the data goes through to the server and we have all the right information for that store. Data will need to be correct, as you will not have access to put that information through again. So ensure that you have really checked all that before you submit. If there is any errors there and you need another photo or you need anything changed, please contact your GO directly and they will be able to update the information for you. Once you have completed and you've submitted the data, you will be returned to the work list. You can then also come back to your menu on the left hand side and then just hit submit again. That will refresh, just ensuring that any data or anything that might have been lagging in the background then will be submitted and you have completed your first store. Now that you've completed the first app training, there is an additional video that will now give you more information and more detail around the other bits and pieces that are on the Spar app, and your Geo will give you the link so you can now watch that second video. If you've got any questions, please ask your Geo for any further instructions, as they are here to help and assist. Thank you for watching and have a great day.